everyone, Aimer back again with another Mission Impossible episode review. This time I'm doing Season 2, Episode 8, which is called The Money Machine. So Jim gets his instructions from a cigarette machine. The mission is to neutralize Walter Dubreuil, an unscrupulous African financier who is planning to wreck his country's economy with the help of counterfeiter Raf Tagore. We get the usual team, but Willie gets a week off for whatever reason. During the apartment scene, we meet a fellow named Mr. Giroux, who is the finance minister of Gallia, the country that we're targeting here, and he's planning to cooperate with the IMF, and we also get a look at the actual money machine itself. Off we head to Gallia, where we see Dubreuil tell Tagore, the counterfeiter, that he needs to move faster to get the fake currency that they're developing together into circulation. Jim starts preparing the actual real money machine that we're going to see later. Giroux tells Dubreuil that his government loans are due quicker than originally outlined, and that angers Dubreuil because, apparently they have some animosity towards each other from the past. Rollin is next to arrive to meet Dubreuil to buy stock in an airline company and pays with cash. Dubreuil is incredulous that someone would have that much cash without declaring it, but moves past it. Cinnamon goes to Dubreuil's bank and they chat about a stock in a company called Ambouli Copper, which has been rising steadily. Cinnamon tells Dubreuil that she may need to reach him outside of business hours for an important matter, piquing his interest in said copper company. As Rollin is about to leave the bank, he has a weird epileptic fit. Barney, saying he's a doctor, settles Rollin down and stops him from hurting himself. While looking for Rollin's ID, Dubreuil finds a customs declaration, but only for $497, much less than the $65,000 or so that he handed over. Rollin and Dubreuil are set up in Dubreuil's office until he settles, and during that time they find that Rollin's money is counterfeit. This leads Dubreuil to offer to take Rollin to his home so he can keep a close eye on him. Rollin claims he doesn't remember anything about what happened, and acts very frightened to be taken to a hospital. Dr. Barney says he'll be back later to give Rollin some sodium pentothal, essentially truth serum, to help with the amnesia. Tagore examines Rollin's fake cash and finds it to be very cleverly made and recent based on the serial numbers. Cinnamon arrives and asks Dubreuil to bend the rules on margin purchases so that she can buy a large amount of Ambouli Copper stock. Dubreuil doesn't want to take the risk, but Cinnamon says her husband is a geologist with Ambouli and has made a tremendous find which won't be reported for 48 hours. Dubreuil asks for some time to think about it, and he summons Dr. Barney to get some truth out of Rollin. Barney injects Rollin with the serum and gets him talking. Rollin reveals that a computer run out of a truck was used to make the counterfeit money. Shortly after, Rollin busts out of the room and takes a tumble down the stairs as Dubreuil realizes the drug has worn off, and so has Rollin's amnesia. Rollin is forced to call his partner, Jim, and tells him what's happened, and that Dubreuil knows about the computer. Jim glumly tells Rollin to bring them to a warehouse, while Barney sends a message confirming the copper find. Dubreuil and Tagore arrive without Rollin. Jim shows them the machine, hiding a concealed Barney inside. Jim gives them a demonstration, putting in a blank piece of paper, which Barney takes and substitutes with a sheet of money. Tagore confirms the process is legit, and Dubreuil hands over some of the real government printing paper that he's procured, and Barney continues the process. Dubreuil wants $5 million printed, offering Jim 10%, but he agrees and he says he needs Rollin to do it. Dubreuil agrees to bring Rollin back in the morning, but as he exits, he reveals that he brought some armed backup and threatens Jim to open the truck. The door reveals an armored and masked Barney who blows away one of the thugs and forces an apologetic Dubreuil to retreat, showing his respect to Jim for being a shrewd partner. The next morning, the plan is set in motion. Dubreuil provides the needed paper, and Rollin makes a grand show of adding ink to the computer. Rollin leaves, claiming he's still a bit woozy. Barney shuffles the paper around and drains the ink continuously to go through the procedure for a while, as Dubreuil calls his assistant Anton, who is trying to buy Ambouli stock, but is having difficulty covering up the huge quantity. Cinnamon arrives at the bank and is falsely told that the purchase is for her. Giroux arrives soon after and questions Anton about the sizable stock purchase, which Giroux believes Dubreuil cannot cover. As the money machine process is finishing, Jim quietly drops a couple of devices into Dubri's bags. Dubri heads back to the bank, tells Giroux confidently that he has the necessary cash to cover his purchase. Cinnamon triggers the devices which ruin the ink on Dubri's money. Cinnamon heads out quietly into the IMF van, loaded with all the minting paper Dubri provided. Mission accomplished. I'm going to give this episode a B-. It is very, very similar, almost identical in many, many ways to the plot of the Diamond from season 1. It's literally a pennies from heaven plot where, you know, you're going after a villain or an antagonist, if you will, and you're giving that person exactly what he or she wants, just not in the way that they expect. And they can't help themselves but grabbing the tainted pennies which inexorably lead towards their doom. So from that standpoint, okay, it's a pretty ordinary plot. You can probably, you know, call it from a mile away exactly what's going to happen and how it's going to go down. That said, the presentation is infinitely better than it was in the Diamond episode. First of all, Brock Peters is really, really, really good, who plays Walter Dubri. He carries himself exactly as you would expect that character to carry himself, you know, dignified, standing tall, that kind of thing, you know, self-confident in every imaginable way. You know, even though Brock Peters is American, you know, he kind of puts on like an upscale, you know, sort of British accent in a way, or what I guess you would expect, you know, an African person who's maybe been educated in Britain, that sort of thing, to kind of put on. His body language is very fitting. He really, really fills a role. And by no means is he a schmuck like John Van Drelen was in The Diamond. Also, really, really good here, I got to give it a big plus, is to say that there's a lot more thought put into the story and production than there was in the Diamond episode. The story is very logical and cogent. I like the attention to detail and the nuances that make the story much better, right? They talk about the real world effect of speculating in stock and how it is dangerous to an economy, and the realities of, you know, purchasing stock on margin and things like that. You know, using proper paper for counterfeiting and having access to that paper, and, you know, being able to, you know, to use that. Just little things like that I think really, really did add to this episode and give it a really, really good ambiance, and that's why I'm giving it a decent grade of B-. Too bad it's kind of a very, very ordinary and predictable plot, but it is quite well executed. Anyway, thank you for watching. Please like this episode. Please subscribe to my channel. And I look forward to hearing your comments. Did you like this episode? Did you not like this episode? I'd like to hear what people have to say. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you next time.